Guys, what is going on for Sunday afternoon of April the 19th, 2020? You're checking out an all new Wrestling with the Topics. Lee Sanders here, joined along with the beautiful and the lovely Tammy. Easy like Sunday morning. Hope you guys are having, well, actually, that's the song by the Commodores, but at the time we're doing this, it's Sunday afternoon. But you know what? It actually might be Sunday morning, depending on where you live. Yeah, it just depends on where you're from. But how the hell y'all been? Hope y'all have been making out okay. We've been doing pretty good. Been a good minute since we did a show. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the last show that we put out there was the RCWR show, and that was Monday. There was supposed to be a Wednesday show for you guys, but I am still getting the whole scheduling thing down with the new job and everything. And one thing that I was able to kind of figure out, especially after talking with the missus, is Wednesday nights are really going to be tricky for me, because by me now working in the evenings, basically by the time I get home, I want to have dinner, I want to rest a little bit, I want to recharge. And so if I were to even entertain checking out both shows, I mean, really being able to fully give both shows my undivided attention like I've been doing before things got crazy with the scheduling, then the show would not be airing live. The post show, it would not be airing live until, I would say, at the latest, maybe 11 o'clock at night. Because remember, those are 2-hour shows. Minus the commercials, you're probably looking at about maybe an hour 35 to maybe roughly an hour and 45 minutes that I'm trying to go through. So it's a little weird when I think about, okay, so how can I pull this off, but do it in a way where I'm definitely going to be off the air, and I don't want to rush. That's the last thing. The last thing I want to do is freaking rush through that. So wouldn't make a lot of sense to do that. So I'm trying to figure out at this point if a Wednesday night show can even happen. And maybe this is a case where I might have to poll people, because if y'all don't care about there being an 11 o'clock at night show, that is, if you're on the East Coast and you don't mind that show going until maybe 12:30, then okay, I could entertain that. But if y'all are down with just, give us something later on during the week, maybe on one of your off days to make up, then we'll have to kind of cross that threshold when we get there. But I definitely think a poll at this point, gauging people, getting their thoughts on where we need to go, would probably suffice. So I know it's kind of weird for you guys because you're used to a certain schedule, but I'm trying to iron this out. We know one thing, the Monday night shows, that's not an issue. That's not an issue. You guys saw we did a show this past Monday. But yeah, so we haven't done a show since Monday. So there's been a lot that's gone down in between. We've got the WWE releases, which we'll talk about shortly. We've got XFL news as more information has come to light. We've got the passing of Howard Finkle. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we could just dive into here. So kick back, relax. It's going to be a fun show. I think, one thing that, and this is how Wrestling with the Topics work. We just, we have a kind of an idea of what we're going to get into, but for the most part, the show is extremely, extremely loose. We're just kicking back. We're chilling. One thing that's been kind of fucking me up, and you know where I'm going with this. There is a company called AdRev. They are also known as AdRev for third party. And these guys have been a thorn in my side for almost 3 weeks now, because it began the week of March 24th. So has it been about 3 weeks? So basically we're almost creeping on a month. It's been
about 3 weeks.
Okay, so we're almost creeping on a month, and these guys have been a thorn in my ass, and I don't appreciate it. All right, so let's really break this down in a way where people that are not podcasters, people that are not YouTube content creators can understand. All right, so this company, AdRev, or AdRev for third party, they're both the same company. It's both AdRev. Look it up on social media. You can look it up on forums. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. But this company is notorious for going after YouTube creators that they feel are putting out real popular content. And they're looking at the views. That's really what they look at. They look at videos that, oh, this has a lot of views. Oh, just imagine the amount of monetization that's coming off of it. And then what they try to do is they try to put in a bogus copyright claim saying that some of their music, which basically they're representing supposedly all these artists, and they're basically saying, oh, well, from the 0.00 mark to the 30-second mark of this video, there's sound in there that matches up to our artist. So just imagine, I bullshit you not, just imagine if all you're doing is presenting an audio presentation as a YouTube content creator or as a podcaster. Maybe you're loading up clips of your show. All you have is just raw audio. And maybe at one point you decide you want to do a sound effect. Maybe you go, well, these guys will take that little sample and they'll say it matches up to one of their artists. And so when you go in to play the clip that's in question, and they go, yeah, this matches up to Dumbass, and the name of the song is Ooh Girl. And you play that, you actually go and you look up that song, and you're going, wait a minute. No, it does not. What the hell are you talking about? This company is also notorious outside of that. They're also notorious for just going after raw vocals. Maybe you don't have any custom made sound effects that you made yourself. Maybe you're just audio only presentation. Be it you're uploading a clip or you are doing a YouTube video and it's just your raw audio. They're claiming that as well. So to date, we now have over 101 videos that have been claimed by this company. Yeah, they actually claimed over 100 of my videos, and it shows a lot and says a lot about them because they went after the golden years of the RCWR show. And when I say the golden years, they went as far back as to 2013, and you can see the numbers anywhere from basically 2011, 12, 13, 14, even 15, the first 5 years on YouTube. You can see that the numbers were just wow. And this was way before every Tom, Dick, Harry, Mary, Sue decided, I'm going to do a podcast on wrestling on YouTube. And you can see how they're going after the videos and why they're going after the videos. And it got so bad that I actually had to reach out to a buddy of mine and ask for advice. And at this point, I'm now in a position where I'm trying to see if maybe I can take some type of legal course of action on these guys because it's been rather fucking stupid what's been going on with them. And it just, you know, I barely have hair as it is. It just makes me want to, I guess, pull the hair from my beard at this point of what's going on. And emails have gone unreplied saying, hey, could you kindly stop because your claims on all of my videos, it's not matching up. It's like, furthermore, I'm not interested in this song that you keep promoting. I've never used the song. At this point, I'm damn sure I'm not interested in this song. You know, it's not even up my repertoire. Stop it. Yeah, like Porky Pig and Looney Tunes. Just, you know, when Daffy Duck's pissing them off too much. It's like stop. But yeah, can you guys believe that over 101 videos to date have gotten a copyright claim? I mean, that is just unthinkable. That is just, you know, the algorithm and how, I don't know how do you explain it. I just don't. But it's crazy. But what's even crazier is when you see the reactions that this company gets from people like myself as a content creator that are bashing them. Just, I mean, I'm kind of professional and kind of polite with the way, I mean, they are just getting their asses handed to them. But I can't help but wonder when this is going to end. Now, for those of you that want to, it depends on how far back of a listener you go. If you remember the very first Twitter account, don't you start that.
Sorry.
I heard you in the other room talking to you. And then there you go. No. You ain't doing that shit today. You got plenty of sleep. I saw when your ass went to sleep. You ain't doing that shit today. No. I told her the last broadcast, I said, I got a pet peeve with you. I said, every time you yawn, that makes the listener come off like, oh, Tammy, poor Tammy, she's disinterested in the topic that they're talking about. And that's not even the case. She just, I don't know why. But I said, you got to work on that. It's like, you got to work on the yawning and all that. It's like, stop it. But for you longtime listeners, you guys will remember this. There was a period where the very first Twitter account I made was an Infinity One Prod account. And, that was basically, my own little production company, basically. And so I used to do a vast majority of my interacting on social media to folks on there. And then I decided, well, wait a minute, it makes more sense to just have a Twitter account supporting the podcast, which at that time there was only one podcast, which was the RCWR show. What you're checking out right now is Wrestling with the Topics. But I said, let me go ahead and make another account. So I made another account, but I still juggled the Infinity One Prod account. However, with the Infinity One Prod account, there was a video graphic that I had created. If you go back to 2013, maybe even 2012 content, you can see it. There was a really cool 30-second little video graphic card that a buddy of mine had made, and it was kick-ass. And, it was very quiet. You heard a little bit of shutter speed sound effect, basically. No music whatsoever. And you're like, oh, wow, hey, that's pretty cool. So that little 30 seconds of a video card graphic intro, this fucking ad rev company is claiming it matches some song called Body in the Woods by Brand X. And there used to be a time where you could actually go on YouTube and you could look up this song. And you're like, no. Now the song in question that, hey, this comes from this, I can't find it anymore. So it's, okay, so how are you going to tell me that this is spoofing off of this, but when I'm doing that proper YouTube search, I'm doing a fucking Google and Bing search, and I can't find the song that's in question now. So you tell me, something don't sound right, because normally when you have a copyright match on YouTube and all that, you can actually see, hey, this is the original video. This is where we think you're sampling from, and it's no, that's not the case at all. So it's really weird what's going on. But yeah, they've gone back from what I've seen so far. Talk about press. They've gone through 101 videos. They've gone through at least all of 2013. Anything that was made a clip, any interviews, 2013. They went 2014. I think they went all through 2013, but they went through 2014. Saw they were doing a little bit of 2015, and so I'm kind of going, damn, how many times did I use this fucking graphic? I didn't even think I was using the graphic like that. Do you recall me using the graphic like that? You remember the little? I think
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And I've been driving the poor missus crazy over the shit, because, well, not really crazy, but god damn it, like, here they go again, and they're sneaky with this shit. It's like they're sneaking over the border illegally, and I'm not saying that in a Mexican way. I just mean that sincerely. It's like, oh, it's 4 a.m. There's no way he's up. Okay, let's flag 3-4 videos. I just happen to be up because I'm a night owl, and I'm on my phone. I'm like, what the fuck? And I immediately, so this is what I'm doing now. And I'm going on and on and on about this because I know that we have some people that are content creators themselves. And the last thing that you want is to see your content, which is basically your babies, your children. Hey, this is my original content. I put my blood, my sweat, my tears, my creativity into this. I spent my time researching and I'm at the end of the day, if there's an option for me to monetize and make money off of this stuff, then yeah, but I care more about the quality than the monetization, right? So, if you're kind of, like me, and you care a great deal about your content being protected because it's your children at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you know your rights when shit like this goes down. So, a couple of things, you can either dispute it like I've done, or the other thing you can do, the smartest thing that you can do, okay, is 30 seconds. You can either go into YouTube's library and they've got straight up royalty free music that YouTube has worked out with different artists. And you can find, okay, well, I need something that's 30 seconds. And you can adjust in the back end the settings, length, find what you need, and apply it there to represent that audio that's now missing. Or if you want to be real simplistic, it's in beta mode right now, but I think pretty soon they're just going to unlock it for everybody. And I think it's phenomenal that they go ahead and do that. But they have mute section beta, and it's just as it sounds. So in my case, that 0 to 30-second timestamp, I can now go into mute beta and just mute that section, and you'll still be able to protect your monetization. Everything will be on point, and that's sticking it to the man when it's all said and done. So know your rights. I've seen so many people that were intimidated by this company, and they don't think they have any option. They don't think they can do anything. They're real popular amongst gamers, I see, because you got gamers that are, no, how can you guys claim this when Electronic Arts is actually the ones responsible for the music? Like what? Oh yeah, they are shady as fuck. Yeah, shady as fuck. But yeah, other than that headache, that's pretty much been. Where you want to go? Where you want to go? You want to go WWE releases? You want to talk XFL? You want to talk Howard Finkle? Where you want to go?
Go to the board, pick one. Doesn't matter.
Well, first off, rest in peace to Brian Dennehy. It was nice seeing so many people go, Rambo, first blood, first blood, first blood, first blood. Mm-hmm. And I get that. I sincerely get that. But it's, what's really sad is I bet if you had polled all of those people and you said, okay, so you remember him from Rambo First Blood. That's great. Where else do you remember him from? Since you remember him from there, where else do you remember him from? And that's when you're going to have a bunch of people that's going to go, and look, First Blood was a phenomenal movie. Don't get me wrong. Look, we know that the Rocky franchise, that had really, really helped put Sylvester Stallone on the map. Mm-hmm. But not to mention, not for nothing, Telly Savalas, Kojak, he realized what Sylvester Stallone was capable of long before, and Telly had a really good, strong hand in knowing talent when he saw it. Mm-hmm. When he felt that, hey, this up-and-coming actor, actress, they got something, we need to watch out for them. He had a really good hand and just a great... When you go back and you look at Kojak now for those 5 seasons, it's a great who's list of people that stopped through there. Mm-hmm. But he was able to tap into Sylvester Stallone during the first season of Kojak before the Rocky movie, the first one, had launched and everything. And you're like, wow, that's pretty badass. And so, yeah, the Rocky franchise, it put Stallone on the map. The Rambo franchise definitely solidified him even more. At least during the 80s for sure. Mm-hmm. It solidified him and everything. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Brian Dennehy, he played a phenomenal antagonist to the John Rambo character and everything. But Brian Dennehy, at least in my mind, I can't speak on behalf of Tammy. But in my mind, Brian Dennehy was so much more than Rambo First Blood. He was one of those type of actors that honestly, once you saw his performance in First Blood, you couldn't help but go, okay, well, anything else that he's involved in, I want to check it out. I want to know what this guy is about. And I'm one of the few that can probably say, yeah, I might have not been into him like Al Pacino, because I can talk all things Al Pacino, but I definitely paid attention to him and some of the projects that he was working on. Let's not forget, Brian Dennehy was also in Silverado. He was in Cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
He also did most recently a couple of episodes of The Blacklist.
Oh.
Okay. He also, one of my personal favorites, before Dustin Hoffman made it really popular, he had starred in a Broadway adaptation of Death of a Salesman, which is one of my all-time favorite plays. It's right up there. And I mean, the list just goes on and on. He did a couple of episodes of, I know he made pit stops on some of the Law and Order episodes, franchises, whether it was regular Law and Order or Law and Order SVU, Rizzo and Owls, Rules of Engagement, Righteous Kill. I know a lot of people bomb the hell out of Righteous Kill, but I actually thought Righteous Kill was a good movie. I remember you and me watched it for the first time with Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, 50 Cent, and basically what we saw in Heat, it was basically the reverse. It was basically the reverse. This go round, it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Pacino that was the bad guy, whereas Heat, it was De Niro that was the bad guy. But Brian Dennehy had played their commander in chief in the movie. He also did 30 Rock, Silverado, Assault on Precinct 13. I mean, when you just go and you look up his entire filmography, there's stuff in there where you go, oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he was in that, wasn't he? He was so much more than First Blood, and I think that's probably the one thing that I kept seeing on social media when people were reacting to his death. That's the only thing that I kept seeing, Rambo, and it's, yeah, but he's so much more than that, And I summed him up perfectly, because when I was talking about him on social media, I had pointed out how he was very similar to Kevin Conway. Kevin Conway and Brian Dennehy, very, very similar in the sense of they were both very emotional driven type of actors. They had this very calm like approach to the roles that they portrayed. But if they're called for a particular scene where they had to evoke a particular emotion, hostility, anger, really dig down deep and really pull it out, these guys were pretty damn good at summoning it. I wouldn't say, as far as, okay, well, how about, character actor? I wouldn't say Brian Dennehy was a character actor. What makes a character actor in my book is somebody that can just fully throw themselves into the role, sleep that character, talk that character, breathe that character, eat that character. A great example of that would be Rod Steiger in The Heat of the Night, the movie. Also as Capone, two great strong performances from him. Heath Ledger, when he invested himself into the Joker. That's what I mean by character actor.
Joaquin Phoenix and Walk the Line.
Yes.
Jamie Foxx and Ray.
Yes, exactly.
Those
exactly.
Type of things,
So I wouldn't say that Brian Dennehy was a character driven actor, but when it came to provoking emotion, provoking a particular thought, he was a master of that. So that's one of the biggest takeaways that I really want for people to come away is, and I'm not bashing people that can just think Rambo, but he was so much more than Rambo.
Yeah, it's just essentially what people identify him with.
Yeah.
Because that's just something that everybody has seen. So that's essentially, why they're saying, Rambo, Rambo, Rambo. Just because the identification of that. Mm-hmm. And you're definitely right as it pertains to evoking emotion.
Yeah.
For me, when I first saw the first Rambo, because I refused to watch it for years because I thought it was going to be too, gory, and well, it is gory, but as far as like a, horror thing, and it's not. It's it's definitely drama at its finest. For me, it definitely did that for me. Mm-hmm. His character acting, as far as evoking a particular response, spot on in that movie. I saw bits and pieces of him in other things, but not enough to really, okay, I'm that type of person that 9 times out of 10, if you get me to sit down from the start of the movie, it's got to be pretty bad for me to turn it off. Mm-hmm. But it's this, if I see it from the beginning, and then I'll just, continue to watch it through the end. Now, if it's bits and pieces of this part here, then I probably won't sit down and essentially invest in it. So I essentially have not. I do remember him briefly in Tommy Boy. But essentially that's, for me, I am one of those people that Lee is talking about, is that's where I remember him most.
Yeah. Yeah. But hopefully, I would hope that in this time of, hey, he was such a good actor, I would hope that during this time, it motivates people into looking up his film history, his TV history, mm-hmm. and really appreciate the great body of work that he mm-hmm. left behind, because he definitely, to your point, yes, pretty much you can identify him with Rambo, mm-hmm. but he was so much more mm-hmm. than that. A very underrated actor. Mm-hmm. I personally feel very, very mm-hmm. underrated, that really didn't get his just due. I don't feel, much like with Kevin Conway. And while I was mentioning Kojak, not for nothing, but Brian Dennehy also had a role on a Kojak episode mm-hmm. as well. Mm-hmm. So once again, as far as Telly being able to
spot talent
when he saw it, yeah. So rest in peace, Brian Dennehy. Apparently Natural Causes, for those of you that may be a little curious, Natural mm-hmm. Causes was in his 80s. I want to say he was about somewhere 82, 83, maybe 84.
I think he was 81.
Somewhere between 81 and 84. So, I mean, that's a nice, long, full life mm-hmm. when it's all said and done. So, rest in peace. So, we had some WWE releases that went down. Mm-hmm. And I counted the names, and it was almost 40. Mm-hmm. It was almost 40. And I'm looking at this, and I wasn't shocked. Yeah. A lot of people on social media were shocked, but I wasn't shocked. Some of the names that were on the list, I couldn't help but scratch my head a little bit and go, well, that's not a choice. But, if you notice, I really didn't, if you're following me on social media, I really didn't put too much thoughts out there. I simply I think if anything, I might have said, hey, best wishes to everybody that was released. Mm-hmm. And, that pretty much was it. But I really didn't elaborate more on it. So this is really my first time speaking really on it. Yeah, really talking about it. And for me, it's not a case where I've had all these days to process everything that's happened. No, how I felt when everything had initially went down is how I feel right now with some of these releases, right? So let's look at some of these names here. Actually, let's back up a second. So not for nothing, but Vince McMahon, he did announce during a conference call just before the releases went about, he did a conference call where he talked about how WWE were trying to do their best to recoup costs during what they described as financial hardships, and that they would have to release or furlough employees as a result. And as you all know by now, this led to the release of producers, writers, wrestlers. And the transcript of what Vince McMahon said before everything broke out is as follows. And he says, and I quote, "Thank you all for joining me today. First and foremost, I hope that you and your families are safe. What we're going through today is unprecedented, and there's no doubt these are challenging times for everyone. Given the adverse effects of the coronavirus and the resulting financial recession, WWE, like so many companies, have to decrease operating expenses. Effective immediately, we are reducing executive and board member compensation, decreasing talent expenses, cutting third-party staffing and consulting, and improving our cash flow by delaying the production of our new headquarters for at least 6 months. Despite all these measures, given the uncertainty we are facing today, unfortunately, we have to temporarily reduce headcount. As such, a number of WWE employees will receive a communication detailing their individual situations. More specifically, those impacted by the furloughs will receive a text message from Human Resources with specific information for their next steps. These are not easy decisions, but reflect the reality of the environment we're working in today. We live in a world of troubled times. I'm confident as a company, and most importantly, confident in you as individual employees, will pull through these tough times, and come back to work and make life better than it's ever been. Thank you." So, these talents that were released, normally we've seen enough shoot interviews and everything, listen to enough podcasts with said wrestlers. A lot of these WWE wrestlers, when it comes to getting bad news, they normally receive a phone call and they're told what's going on, and then you probably get the official email, certified letter, things of that nature. So there was a misconception that was put out there that the talents that were released via text message, or that they were released via email. People that are saying that have really no clue, in my estimation, how the real world is supposed to, how it's supposed to operate. Okay, especially when you have a empire like WWE. It's like, that might be good for what Eric Bischoff was doing in the WCW days, but when you're the WWE, you got a responsibility to shareholders, stockholders, and all that. No, you want to do things the proper way, right? So, burst that little bubble. The names that were released: Tanara Conti, I remember her. Thought she was going to have a very bright, promising career as part of the NXT roster. Kendo Cation, who's a coach. Serena Deeb, right here from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Born and raised in Fairfax, Virginia. Long decorated career as a pro wrestler. Involved, she goes back to the OVW days. Multi-time women's champion, a journeyman in her own respected right. Had performed in the Mae Young Classic tournament going back to 2018. WWE so impressed with her, not to the point they wanted her as a full-time or part-time wrestler, but we want you to come on board as a performance coach. So, for about 2 years, helped out as a performance coach. And the women were learning. You could see it. You could see it. Chris Guy, another performance center coach, released. MJ Jenkins. Josiah Williams. Jerry Sota, announcer. Somebody that we've seen few times on Monday Night Raw. Most recently, we saw her in a losing effort against Nia Jax. Deonna Purrazzo. Saw a lot of potential in her. Victim of circumstance right there. Alexander Jasic. Andrea Lissenberger, who was a writer. Billy Kidman, producer. Pat Buck, producer. Sean DeVory, producer. Scott Armstrong, was also a referee, producer. Sarah Stock, producer. Kurt Angle.
Hasn't been doing much though.
Hasn't been doing much. Can't help but wonder, what was he doing?
What that is.
Shane Helms recently signed on to the WWE to be a producer. Lance Storm. That one I'm a little irritated with. So Lance Storm, I was telling Tammy this. Lance Storm had his academy for years. Got approached by WWE. I don't even know if Lance made it 6 months with WWE. But long story short, Lance Storm closed down his academy to come on board for the WWE as a producer. And now his life as he knows it. Okay. Fit Finlay. You've heard women in WWE time and time again. As a matter of fact, I want to say even as recent as when Trish Stratus, if not when Trish Stratus had got inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame, maybe even trying to think, her name will come to me in a second.
Lita?
Not Lita. I wanted to say Ivory, but I don't think so. My timeline's a little funky, but I want to say Trish Stratus. But Fit Finlay, amongst the all the women in WWE that's passed through there, have always said Fit Finlay, always going to bat for the women, in charge of booking the women's matches, finishers and all that, helping them out. Released. Mike Rotunda, father of Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas.
Legit or character?
No, legit.
Oh, wow.
And for those of you that are trying to figure out who exactly is Mike Rotunda used to be known as the IRS.
Doesn't, unfortunately for me.
If you were watching the WWE as a kid back in the 80s, as soon as I pull up an image of him, you'll probably recognize him. He would always say, "Your taxes are due." Vaguely? Yeah, well, long time WWE fans. They know what I'm talking about. So that person, but yes, legit, yes, okay. Yes, released. Aiden English, who was doing a phenomenal job as a commentator for 205 Live, I felt, as far as transitioning from pro wrestler to commentator, I felt he was doing a phenomenal job. I thought, if anything, it was just about finding the right outlets to utilize him properly. Released. Eric Young, somebody that I've been following since his days in Impact Wrestling. Don't fire Eric. To when he eventually became a Impact World Champion. Just everything that he was able to do. I thought the stable that he had there in WWE with Sanity, how could you go wrong with that? Killian Dane, frickin' Eric Young, Nikki Cross, Alexander Wolf. You had a nice good thing that was going on there. That should have never been broken up. But the powers that be saw individual stock with certain talents and felt that, break these up and let's focus on these guys instead. And sadly, Eric Young never really went any higher than what he all was able to accomplish in NXT. So it kind of brings the question, who exactly failed Eric Young?
Mm.
I don't think it was Eric Young. I think Eric Young was a victim of the circumstance, hands tied behind his back. Kurt Hawkins. A little disappointed in that one. Little disappointed in that one. Zack Ryder. A man who from time to time and time again, he's created his own opportunities. Mm-hmm. If WWE wasn't providing them, he would be quick to jump out there on social media. Mm-hmm. I mean, my God, what he was able to do with the the internet championship title, Long Z story, Long Island Z story, or whatever that was. You know, I mean, this was a guy that, hey, look at what he was able to do on his own. You talk about creativity at its finest. This guy is able to successfully, before WWE fully had embraced fucking social media. I mean, marinate on this for a second, folks. There was a time where WWE frowned upon social media. They looked at social media as for geeks. That's not my words. That's not me being a dick. That's just the truth. They frowned upon it. And they basically said to all of their talents, no, you're not doing that. You're not doing any of that shit. You're not doing the AOL. You're not doing the MySpace. You're not doing the Facebook. You're not doing the YouTube. No, the hell with that stuff.
That was definitely money left on the table.
Zack Ryder was one of the first. I would say him and Joey Styles to a degree. But as far as talent goes, Zack Ryder was really among the first that, nah, man, this isn't a bad tool at all. You can use this to your advantage and do it in such a way where you can get your brand over and you can connect with fans even more. Let me show you guys how you can do this. And so everything that's happening now, storylines and all that other shit that's playing out on social media, you really essentially have Zack Ryder to thank for that. Bad shape of his life right now. I mean, you look at this guy. I mean, he is shredded. This guy, all natural. You know, this guy looks like he should be a freaking world champion. He's got the look. He looks like he should be a world champion. He looks like he should be a year-long intercontinental champion and all that. And so you can't help but who failed Zack Ryder here. I believe WWE failed. Some of these people, WWE failed them completely. Somebody that really tugged at our heartstrings, I said, don't cry, dude. You come on now. You're gonna make me bawl. Drake Maverick. By the way, shout out to his lovely wife, Renee Michelle. She's awesome. She interacts with people from time to time. I've had a few interactions with her. She is a sweetheart. She really is. But Drake Maverick, you couldn't help but feel for him, especially with that tearful video release that he put out there. You could legitimately tell that for a guy like him, and probably everybody else that was released, but definitely for a guy like him, this was his dream. This is what he had been wishing for all of his entire life, and he was able to finally fulfill that dream and live it and ride it, but wasn't able to truly take it to its fullest extent.
Right.
If there's one name on here so far that I see and I go, no, they should not have released this individual, and I don't need the emotional video that he had put out there.
Right.
Drake Maverick was, because the first thing that comes into your mind, well, wait a minute. This was a guy that was given the 205 general manager position. And while he was juggling that, he was managing the AOP. And yeah, AOP might have been involved in some silly little stuff, but you were still talking about them. And that was largely in part to Drake Maverick adding that color. And then you think about him and his involvement, especially with Renee Michelle, with the 24/7 title.
Right.
And how Renee Michelle's like, really? That title's more important than our wedding? You had a nice running gag that was going on right there.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, Renee Michelle just magically disappeared. You never saw her on TV again, but you kept seeing Drake Maverick, and you're going, wait a minute. How do you not tap into? I mean,
right?
And Drake knows this. I'm sure he sees the compliments all the time. It's just some of us, like myself, we know how to be tasteful about what we're saying about somebody's significant other. She's an extremely gorgeous woman, an extremely gorgeous woman. I mean, cover girl face, smoking body that you could see on Sports Illustrated, Jet, few other joints, and you're not signing her to a contract, and you're not basically doing Drake and Renee as a 1-2 combo punch. I mean, we see how you're doing with Rusev and Lana, but this can really get over with fans, and what they were doing was getting over with the fans. Just her sitting on top of a freaking equipment box in a tight white dress, while Drake Maverick is so consumed about the 24/7 title, makes people on social media, yeah, but what's up with the wifey? Okay, so she was getting over in her own right, not really doing that much, just popping up on the camera.
Right.
So there was a lot you could have done with Drake Maverick. You cut him. Okay. Stupid move, I would say. EC3. I don't care what anybody says. EC3. I've let it be no secret. I've been a fan of EC3 since I saw the potential with him when he was in WWE the first go round. I if anything, I felt he needs a haircut. I mean, because he had this shaggy. I didn't like his hair. I felt he needed shorter hair, but other than that, he had the look. They cut him. He comes to Impact Wrestling. EC3's officially born. She knows how I felt about EC3. I felt that guy was fucking money. He smells like money. He looks like money. He probably tastes like money. That's fucking money. Comes back to WWE the second go round, and we see what the end result was. Talk about the system failing him tremendously. Tremendously. Phenomenal looking guy like that. Can wrestle his ass off. Charisma like a mofo. Everybody's tripping over MJF. And look, I'm a huge fucking fan of MJF. But come on. You look at what EC3 was doing before MJF. And you just can't help but go, how could WWE drop the ball here? You see one of the hottest commodities in MJF that's going on right now. And in your own backyard, that's essentially what you got with a guy like EC3, and you don't know how to...
EC3 is the white version of Alberto Del Rio.
Elaborate more. I see it, but elaborate more.
Just in the fact of the flashy clothes, clean cut, maybe not flashy cars, but you can kind of imagine by the way he dresses that could possibly be added. That's where I'm coming from. As far as yes, you can see the similarities there.
Now let me ask you something. But better? When you mentioned Alberto Del Rio and everything, but better, or do you feel Del Rio did it better?
I guess I would say they're about even.
They're about even. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I like that. Lio Rush. I gotta show love to Lio Rush. I'm a little disappointed with that one. I'm not sure what to make of that one. That one I'm a little confused about, and I'll tell you why. So Lio Rush, we saw him when he was managing Lashley. I mean, he did a phenomenal job in really putting the spotlight on Lashley, but was also getting himself over as well. Then he disappears. We don't know what the hell was going on, but you got all those rumors that's out there. He wanted more money, and he's talking openly about it on social media. It's kind of hard to separate fact from fiction. But one thing that we do know for certain is that Lio Rush did resurface some months after he teamed up with Lashley. He was back in NXT. NXT slash 205. Triple H kind of helping him out and everything. But even at that, sparingly, we see him on TV. Now Leo's going to be okay, though, because if he wants to continue being a wrestler, there's promotions that's going to be willing to work with him. But something else that he can fall back on that I fully endorse, and I did check it out, he's a hell of a rapper. He is a hell of a rapper. He's got a few joints out. Little mixtapes, singles, and all that. Very seldom do I get behind a rapper that essentially, for me, this kind of came out of nowhere. Very seldom do I get behind a wrestler that, they call themselves a musician or a singer. Okay. Lio Rush got skills. He got talent. Better than R-Truth. That's just my opinion. Better, I can legitimately, put it to you this way. I can legitimately see Lio Rush rapping with Common, rapping with Busta Rhymes or Mystical. I can envision him rapping with what's that group? What's the group that sung Mark Henry's songs? Sixth Street Mafia. I think that sounds right. I think that's it. But you get the point. I can see him.
The heavy hitting names.
I can see him with the heavy hitting names because he carries himself with Q-Tip. I can see him carrying himself very well. So he all these guys are going to bounce back. If they're serious about it, they're all going to bounce back. But just people off the break that I feel they're going to be all right. Lio Rush, he's definitely going to be okay. Looking at the rest of these names here. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows. Remember, AJ Styles had a huge hand in bringing him in. First go round. WWE's probably happy because, look, they tried to secure these guys, and they did, to their credit. They secured them under a lucrative deal because they were ready to roll. But WWE came at them with a very lucrative deal. They decided to stick around, but now they are on the outside looking in. Some people will question whether or not Anderson and Gallows really made that much of an impact in the WWE, especially for the tag division. Some people may not care about their releases. I get that. But what I will say is their stock was dramatically high up there when they were in New Japan. They were something else in New Japan. Looking at the rest of these names here. Heath Slater. Primo Epico. Mike Chioda. 3-6 Mafia. Thank you, Philip. 3-6 Mafia. That's what it was. What did I say? 3-6 Mafia? Or 3 feet? I said something. I don't know. 3-6 Mafia. All right. Primo Epico. Mike Chioda, referee. Sarah Logan. Now, I got to be consistent here. I was very recent about it maybe 2 weeks ago. So I don't want people that's going to say, Lee's inconsistent here, because Lee had said, now, I got to go on record. Have I said, with regards to Sarah Logan, I just don't see it. It ain't clicking. She's had so many opportunities. WWE, you got all of these other women that's down at the Performance Center that are signed and yet to get any type of TV time, that are probably, most likely, definitely, without a shadow of doubt, 3 times better than Sarah Logan. Cut your ties with Sarah Logan. Hell, I even pitched last ditch effort, maybe pair her up with the Viking Raiders, since, one of the guys in there she's married to in real life. Why not pair her up with them and see if something can happen from that? Otherwise, cut your losses with her. It just ain't happening. Look, man, at the end of the day, I don't get a hard on, nor do I get excited for when somebody is released. When I'm on this show and I say, hey, I don't know, man, this person needs to be released from the company, it's never personal. Never personal. Because at the end of the day, much like you, I don't know these people in real life. So I can't make it personal. I cannot. The only way I can make it personal is if these said talents have done something directly personal to me. But then even at that, I'm not going to put it out there on social media. I'm going to deal with it behind the scenes. And then from time to time, you get to be in a really cool position where when you've been podcasting for as long as I have, you get to talk to people that's connected to some people and, hey, well, this is what I'm hearing about this person. Or this is what's up with this person. I'm sure Sarah Logan is a sweetheart and everything. But whenever I bring up, hey, this person, just let them go. I'm doing it based off a evaluation. And normally that evaluation is, okay, I have how many years of content on this person? Okay, and what have they been able to do as an in-ring performer? I go down all the fundamentals. I go down, okay, what's going on with them in the ring when they're wrestling? Okay, what's going on with their mic skills when they're cutting promos? What's going on with their connection to the fans? What's going on with them as far as selling merchandise, if any? What's going on with their social media engagements? Do they have people talking about them, their storyline? And I look at all of those things. All of those things. And if they're essentially flunking in every single one, then for me personally in my book, I go, okay, and how many opportunities has this person had? It's never personal. I want people to understand that. So, yes, I will go on record and I will say, with regards to Sarah Logan, hey, that was the right move. It was the right move. Now, does it suck that it had to happen during COVID-19? Yeah, but for everybody that's released, if you're not going to do it here, then when? And not for nothing, but this is a yearly tradition. This is a yearly tradition. How many years have we been on this show? And there's been a dark day during the week where WWE does massive releases. Now, in all my years, I've never seen a list quite as big that has transpired over 48 hours. But if they weren't going to release all these people during this crisis, I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. Even if WWE has the money to be able to afford paying for all of these people, you're losing so much money in the process. It makes more sense to cut ties, because it's all about the house at the end. It's all about the house. It's about the house protecting itself and making sure that it's able to continue to thrive during this period and for the coming year and try to recoup and everything. Looking at the rest of these names here, Rowan was released. So, and if I'm not mistaken, Rowan from the Viking Warriors, and if I'm not mistaken, Rowan is the husband of, I always knew that, but I just wasn't sure which guy it was. Rowan, who is actually, you know what? Let me back up a second. No. I said that wrong. Forgive me, guys. I'm thinking of somebody else, but Eric Rowan, he was released. So you make all of that investment in Eric Rowan over Luke Harper, only to ultimately let Eric Rowan go.
I thought I saw some type of report, and I don't know how true it is, but about Rusev.
Rusev was officially released.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Rusev was released. He even put out a joint on social media saying, thanks to all, I'm paraphrasing, thanks to all, Rusev out. So,
Okay.
Rusev released.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Of all the names on here, and I'm pretty sure we went through all the names. Maria Kanellis, Mike Kanellis, they were released. They were playing the social media games with WWE when their contracts was up for renewal and everything. And hey, some of these guys, they were able to play some really good head games with WWE because WWE did not want to see some of these people go over to AEW, and rightfully so. I understand that, but
But again, like you said, you kind of have to take care of the house first.
Exactly.
And, the funny thing is whether it be it now or, once this is over, whether or not they will land in AEW. Or at least some.
Or at least some of them, right. But Rusev, of all the names that really jump out, I mean, if you want to just talk from a performance standpoint, Rusev jumps out to me the most.
Yeah.
Talented guy. You look at this guy and you see where he was when we first saw him in NXT, and you fast forward to now and seeing how dedicated he was in transforming himself physically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, lean and mean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're giving him no opportunities. He's able to make something out of nothing, kind of similar to Zack Ryder.
Mm-hmm. But they're not working with him, or working with even some of these talents to bring them up the ladder. And whether it be a new gimmick or a refreshed version of themselves.
How many months did we go through Rusev and Lashley with the whole Lana thing? What was that, about 6 months?
Yeah.
About 6 months.
About 6 months.
And now, granted, some of these people, you never know. You never know. It's speculation, but some of these people, they might have had issues with...
The current gimmick?
No.
Oh.
They may have had issues with COVID-19. They may have legitimately had issues with... I don't really want to come down there. I don't really want to jeopardize my health and my family. So it's a possibility that some of these people may have, but there's so many factors into these releases. But when it's all said and done, from a financial standpoint, I can only imagine how much money, when you add up the totals, that WWE is saving from. Mm-hmm. This is the real world, people. For those of you that have never worked a 9-to-5 job in your entire life, and you're young, you're a kid basically. This is how it is sometimes in the real world. I mean, let's do real talk here. Obviously, we're not pro wrestlers. I might have had aspirations, might have tried to train and and all that, but we're not wrestlers. But something that we do have, that we can bring to the table always when we do shows like this, when we do the RCWR show, is that we have the experience. So we can relate to what all these talents have gone through. Very seldom are you going to be able to go online and find a podcast that can not only break this shit down, that makes a lot of sense, but can connect to it from a personal level, because we're literally walking in those same shoes, much like everybody else in the world. But we can double down and speak upon this with authority. Let me tell you something. This is real talk. This week, Thursday, was it not? Or was it Wednesday? Was it Thursday or Wednesday?
Friday.
It was Friday. Mm-hmm. This past Friday, all right, so just about 48 hours ago, I get a text message, which I got to be honest, I thought was unprofessional. I get a text message from now my former manager for my first job in marketing research. And she says to me, I'm summarizing, hey, honey, as a result of what all is going down with this pandemic, we've now been put into a position where we have no choice but to furlough employees. And you're one of the people that we have to furlough. Now, this drastically changed from 3+ weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
3+ weeks ago, the owner of the company sent out an email and said, hey, we know these are difficult times that's happening right now, but we are doing our best to keep everybody on payroll. Everybody's got nothing to worry about. Hey, if you are salary based, your salary is going to be reduced by 10%. If you're hourly, your joint is going to be reduced by 50%. We aren't looking to let anybody go. We're keeping everybody's jobs is still intact. If something needs to change, we'll let you know way ahead of time, but we're doing our best to keep everybody on the payroll. That was 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now I get this text message from the manager saying that I'm one of the people they let go in just that one day, including myself, they let go a total of 14 people. They let go. And, I'm looking at this and I'm going, and Tammy noticed, I wasn't shocked. I wasn't upset. I wasn't irritated. I felt a little bit relieved. I felt relieved because I spent basically, I'm turning 40 this year, but I spent all of my 30s with this company. So essentially, I spent almost 10 years with this company. And constantly, hey, I'm interested in moving up. I'm ready. I want to move on to, other things. I want to be considered for this position. I want to be considered for, hey, is that opening up? Hey, I'd like to try for that. I'd like to interview for that. I mastered what I needed to master for the department I was in for so many years that I was no longer complacent. I wanted better so that I could ultimately provide for myself and my family. I felt like I was it Paulie in Goodfellas?
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Goodfellas, where I'm waiting for the book to open up so that I can become a made man. Because once I become a made man, hey, I'm officially salary now. All right, I got nothing to worry about. I'm protected. I get all these other perks. I kept waiting for the book to open up. I keep telling my lovely soon-to-be wife here, patience, stay with me, we go through the periods where during certain quarters, especially the later you go into the fourth quarter where all the major holidays go down, downtime, off 3 days, off a week, sometimes off 2 weeks,
3 weeks,
sometimes 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Loyal to this company. And I couldn't help but right before all of this, just January 1st of this year, me and the missus had a conversation, and it was, hey, if we're going to do this wedding, if we're going to do this, if we're going to do that, that job's got to go. You either gotta just replace them totally or make them be the second girlfriend, and the other job you have is the main squeeze. It's like, okay. Happy to say, during the third week of March, once I saw how stuff was just going in early March, I said, I was kind of looking. But really, when March hit, it was, okay, I'm looking. I said to her, hey, talk to your friends, talk to your family, keep the eyes and ears out there open, because if something comes, I'm on it. I don't care what it is. I just need something. I gotta be cash flow positive. I gotta be cash flow positive. For my family's sake, I gotta be cash flow positive. The second gig that I have now, knocking on wood, came right when a motherfucker needed it.
Yeah.
You know, this first job in market research, these guys couldn't even bring me in for at least 5 days. 5 days worth of pay. They couldn't even do that.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
This pay period that just got wrapped up, you know how many days I worked? You know how many days I worked, people? Only 3.
Yeah.
3 hours for all of those. 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 9 hours total that I was able to do in a 2-week period for this company. Oh, nothing for you tomorrow and the day after. So enjoy the weekend. We'll let you know about Monday. Like, okay. And I'm thinking, hey, at this point, if I can make at least $200, $300, $400 from you guys, that's fine. I got this other chick over here who's giving me a lot more money, and I'm getting that money weekly. So y'all just figure out what I'm good. Yeah, that's how I was acting. I'm like, I'm good. But I kept telling Tams, I said, you know, I'm gonna have to split sooner or later because, and I told her, I said, and she'll tell you, I said, let's see how the rest of April plays out. Let's see how the rest of April plays out. If I can get as close to what I was getting before all this went down, 50%, okay, it's 50%. If I can get that 50%, we'll ride this out a little longer. Otherwise, I'll cut ties. And yet Friday, I get, again, what was very professional, I felt. Because if you're going to be telling people they've been furloughed, let go, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you're going to do something like that. Hey boss, you ain't doing shit. You're working remotely from home. Just like me and our entire fucking firm was doing. We were all operating from home. You don't know how to pick up a phone, and you don't know how to, okay, you say in an email, oh, Lee, I miss our personal talks. I miss our talks about politics and this and this and that. If there was ever a time to pick up the fucking phone, you used to call me on the telephone. It's like, if there was ever time to pick up a phone, especially with some heavy shit like that, that's the time to pick up the phone and, hey.
True, but as a society at this point, we don't want to deliver bad news and hear the disappointment, the negativity, and so on and so forth. Now, is it wrong? Yeah, it is. But, how many people, just interesting, kind of, things that make you go, And some people may know that song, some people may not. But anyway, those things, how many people have tried to break up on a text message? So, kind of the same thing, How many people have gotten a text message? How many people, even before text, Dear John letters? So in the interest of saving themselves, it's done that way.
Yeah, but it is tacky.
But terribly.
It's tacky.
It's terribly tacky.
It's tacky. So I get this text message, and then I'm told.
Actually, really quick, even with my position, we at least got a Zoom call.
Yeah, so Zoom video conference call.
At least.
Yeah. And
saying, guys, we don't like this any more than you do, but here's what it is. Yeah. And here's the steps that you guys need to take to make sure that you're good.
Right.
And so thus we did that.
Yeah.
But that shows the appreciation and love that they have for their staff.
One key word, respect.
Oh, yes.
Respect. Sure. That shows the respect.
Yes.
No respect in how me and the other 13 people were furloughed.
Right.
Okay. So I sent the text message back, and I just basically said, hey, you guys were really awesome to work with. This is a time of self exploration right now, and trying to do better for myself and my family. You know how I've been, talking about trying to move up and everything. I'm not good at saying goodbyes, so I'll say see you later. And I get a text message back, thanks for the kind, sweet words. And apparently the buck was being passed off to the president of the company. The president of the company was supposedly gonna personally call people. I said, look, and this is how it ties back. You all should know the connection by now. We're laying it out beautifully for you, I think. But I get, the president of the company is gonna call you personally, with everybody else that's been furloughed and I said, look, that's not needed. I'm a big boy.
I know how this works.
I know how this is. I literally just watched a major wrestling promotion let go of 40 people the other day. I'm fine. And then there was this, well, when things get back to normal, hopefully we can bring you back. And I'm thinking to myself, I just told you see you later. Now, I didn't text back, but I'm thinking, I just told you, see you later. I'm like that abused girlfriend in the relationship, wham, wham, oh, I won't do it again. I promise things are going to be better this go round.
Yeah. That's a damn good metaphor. Yeah.
I'm taking counseling, I've got it under control. So basically, instead of beating the shit out of you on Sundays, I'm going to beat the shit out of you on Saturdays.
Right. Or maybe instead of 30 minutes, I only do 15.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the perfect metaphor for shooting.
Okay, so it's like, no, thank you. I'm good. Really, I'm good. Almost 10 years was enough of your bullshit. I'm full.
Yeah.
I'm full. I don't want any more. Okay.
Yeah.
So
time to move on to greener pastures.
Exactly. So this is how the real world works sometimes. Is it fucked up what I just told you guys? Especially you younger guys that maybe are going to be joining the workforce in a few years. Yeah, it's totally fucked up. It's totally fucked up. But this is how things are right now during this pandemic. Is you've got these employers, much like what I just described to you and what happened with my employer, what Tammy just described happened with her respected employer. These employers, they've got to do everything they can humanly possible to, I won't say stay cash flow positive, because depending on the industry, it's not really cash flow positive right now. It's more so they're putting out than bringing in. It's about staying afloat. Really yes, that's what it's about right now. So you got to make cuts where you can. I mean, guys, just pretend, even you younger folks out there, just pretend you've got your own business for a minute. Oof. Just pretend you got your own business for a minute. Just whatever your passion is in life right now, just imagine you have your own business right now. If you love eating all things cookies and making cakes, just close your eyes and just picture your own business right now. Picture the amount of people you would want to help you with that business, okay? Now, let's say that you've done the math, and for a whole calendar year, as far as being able to stay cash flow positive, you got to be bringing in a profit of at least $500,000. $500,000. That pretty much takes care of your employees. That takes care of your licenses, any licenses that you need for your business.
Space you're possibly renting.
You also got to think about the third-party vendors, anybody that you're doing business with that has to bring you your supplies, all of that. Let's not also forget you got to pay taxes. All right, you got to pay taxes. You're probably gonna have to also be paying for health insurance for your employees, depending on the number of employees that you have.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends,
Okay.
yes.
It depends. All right. So you got to, you all right. So for a whole calendar year, you got to at least be pulling in about 500K and up. That's cash flow positive. Everything balances out. It's all about making sure the company is making some type of a profit. And imagine you're dealing with this pandemic right now and you're told you can't operate because of what's going on. Okay, well, by the day, if you're opened 6 days a week and your cash taken is usually, I know I'm sucking with the math right now, but you get the point I'm making. But let's just say
Just say
15,000
$15,000 a day.
15,000 a day. 15,000 a day. Okay, well,
Down to,
with COVID-19 and your business is closed those 6 days a week, that's $15,000 a day that you're fucking losing.
Yep.
And so that's hurting into that year-end run of I need
Cash
to
flow
be
positive.
of cash flow positive. I need to be 500K and up to break even and then some and be comfortable. That's eating into it. So each day that this crap is going on, each week that goes by, it's eating more and more to it. And then suddenly it's, okay, got to make cuts. How do we make cuts? Well, we got 20 people right here in this department that honestly we can let them go. We can furlough them and we can pretty much have these people over here do that work. Okay, that sounds good and dandy.
If it's needed.
Right.
If it's not, working from home.
Right. Okay, well, that sounds good. Well, how much money is that going to save if we let go of those 20 people? Well, boom. Oh, wow. Well, it sucks, but all right, let's do it. So that's how these employers are operating right now. It is, I hate to pull an X-Men quote, but it's apocalypse survival of the fittest.
Yeah. And the other part of even some of these businesses who can't even reopen back up, because they just don't have it.
Right. Right.
And that's really sad.
Yeah.
But everybody essentially is trying to do their best.
Yeah.
To, go and do and be each day and, just survive it at this point.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of what we all are striving for. But the best thing that you guys can do right now is just your local governments, having the common sense out there to do what you're being told or, even taking that into the extra step so that you are and your family are safe.
Yes.
And healthy.
Yes.
And once that, that is half the battle. Once you've got that and everything is under control and then states are starting to open back up.
Well, hang on. Don't jump too far ahead. That is a good transition, but don't jump too far ahead because that's where we're supposed to be diving into next.
Yeah.
But let's put a proper bookend on these wrestlers, everybody that was released from WWE. So now that you younger folks, now that we've painted the picture, does it make it right? Does it make it wrong? But you understand how things are operating right now and why things are happening the way that it is. Look, all of these people that were released, they all are going to be okay. I would like to believe that a majority of these people saved as much money as they could. You would hope. You damn sure would hope that they saved as much money as they could and that they did their best to live within their means and not live such a glamorous life that if their job ended, well, how the fuck am I gonna pay for this? What the fuck? Hopefully they budgeted their money wisely. But all of these people, looking at a lot of these names, a lot of these people will bounce back. And look, not for nothing, but some of these people, when this is all said and done, they may be able to come back to the WWE, once things are okay again. And another thing that's interesting, rumblings are that some of these people that were released have either a 30-day or a 90-day clause. Now, normally when you hear something like that, you okay, so they're being paid, through this period of time, or so you look, they're being taken care of financially by the WWE. They're gonna be okay when it's all said and done. I would hope that under the circumstances, as far as where are you gonna work right now is the question. Where you gonna work? Even if there is no, just for the sake of the argument, let's say there's no 30, 60, or 90-day clause. Where are you gonna work right now? Wrestling wise, where are you gonna work right now? Yeah, okay,
nowhere.
Okay,
Because no company is going to be
no,
attracting talent right now.
No,
They're trying to work with what they have at this point.
Exactly. So we need a little bit more.
So that 30 to 60 days or 90 days, is that to where they can't go and sign with another promotion?
That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, okay.
And it's a little weird right there what's going on, because try telling that to somebody that needed to feed their family like yesterday.
Right.
And you've got that silly little clause out there. It's like, no, if you can't fucking pay me. I saw somebody bring up a really good point, which is, and shit like this is why you need to have a wrestlers union. Mm-hmm. That's a whole different topic that maybe we can dive into, because there's a lot of pros and cons to that. But for the record, to everybody that was released by WWE this week, notice this, and I also want to say, notice this. Notice how when a wrestler gets released because of furlough, whatever you want to call it, notice how when a wrestler gets released because of COVID-19, you've got best wishes, hope you bounce back, and that's nice. Be consistent, people. Be consistent. You've got friends, you've got family, you've got former co-workers, former associates that are going through the same thing as these people that were working in WWE, that they went through, and you're not showing them that same love, thoughts, prayers. Be consistent. I thought it was very one-sided. I saw a few people, and I'll even put myself out there. I even said a little something on social media. I didn't get not one heart. I didn't get not one like. I didn't get not one tweet. I didn't get not one retweet to the news. You saw what I posted on Facebook? That's the same thing that I posted on Twitter. I didn't see not one fucking, but the minute I put something out there, and I did it just on purpose, just to see. But the minute I put something out there, a little wrestling news related or whatever, people had to go run tweet to me about that or like that. But peep that out next time. I'm sure you guys know somebody, maybe it's even you, that's going through what you're going through right now. Notice how, oh man, this news had came about with my job, and oh man, me and all these people just got let go. And notice the amount of people that will interact on that post. Probably jack shit. But when it comes to a celebrity, an athlete, essentially going through what you and or your friend or family member went through, or y'all flocking for that.
Right.
It's not about jealousy. It's just about be consistent. Because you could tell, some of these people, they're doing what they're doing with said celebrity because they want it. Oh man, they liked it. They're
yes.
Yeah.
The attention.
The attention. But be consistent. So, smooth transition. You teased it earlier. So now we
just about being safe.
Yeah. Well, no. See, I know where we're going with the show. Tammy's a little bit in the dark. The transition of states opening. That's where I'm going. So we've got the president. I have all authority. I am the be all end all. I have all authority. Nothing else matters. What I say is rule. And I say all the states, they can open. And you've got the governors, Mr. President, actually.
That's not true.
Okay, so some states, in my estimation, 29 of them, they're good to go. They're fantastic. People are dropping dead still, but they're good to go. Everybody's got their stimulus money. That was done possible by yours truly. Remember me in November, bitches.
And you're just so apparently 29 states supposedly have the green light to open up and be business as usual. You know, a few restrictions. It's interesting what we've been seeing of this, because here in the DC metropolitan area, it's white hot. It's white hot. People are dropping like I don't know what. Maryland is Maryland number one now?
And of the DMV?
Yeah. Is it number? Okay, so Maryland is number one for the amount of cases and the amount of deaths of this virus. Mm-hmm. Virginia is number 2. Mm-hmm. DC's number 3. West Virginia is number 4. I don't even think West Virginia cracked 500 yet. 500 cases.
They have.
Oh, they finally did? Mm-hmm. Oh, it took them long enough.
Oh, well.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that, but I'm just... Shit. Oh, my bad. Retraction.
Damn.
Retraction. But, you know, in all seriousness, no joking matter here. All right, so you're going, okay, wow, you know, and then... No, we haven't quite reached our peak yet. You know, we still have... But you got these states that are opening up. You see dumbass DeSantis in Florida... Oh, yeah, I'm going to open the beaches up. And you've got people at like hours after he made the announcement. Motherfuckers are on the beach like it's freaking Woodstock.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, how are you going to police that?
No more social distancing. Barely.
Right.
Which is basically one of the things they kept saying to them about. And, you know, and that's what I've seen thus far is... Everything that's opened back up, or everything that, you know, in mass population type of deals, whether it's the beaches in Florida, or we had something in the DMV a couple days ago where they were offering free food. And
tell them about that. Tell them about that.
So there was there was one store that has a couple locations, actually about 7.
Mega Mart.
Yeah, Mega Mart, who had, I don't know, 5 to 7 locations that were offering, you know, a bag of $30 worth of groceries for free. And the lines on all locations was past ridiculous. I mean, past ridiculous. And can I tell you, social distancing went right out the window. Right out the window. Because they were standing in line like essentially you would stand in line for a concert. And they stopped giving the groceries, then they just went into vouchers. But the thing here is, is it a wonderful gesture? Absolutely. But what's not so wonderful is that you don't anticipate that with the need that everybody has right now, that you're not going to get hundreds of people. Thus, guess what? You didn't tell anybody that you were going to do this.
Right.
So you have no policing. You have no this, no that. They didn't even learn anything from the report that was out, a week ago from a DC food market. They opened that thing up and there must have been 150 people there. And that thing is a little old spot.
Yeah.
So no more social distancing, no more this, no more that. And so it just goes to show you that if that's what it takes, I don't know that everybody's ready to do so, because there are a few states that essentially, okay, hey guys, we're going to have the place open, But you guys need to social distance. You have to do this. You have to wear a mask. You have to that, blah, 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 blah. 4 days later, cases are still climbing. Hey, guys, you need to social distance. You gotta have your mask. Gotta this, gotta that, gotta the third. Okay. 4 days later. Okay, we're just gonna shut down the state because it's obvious that you can't follow the rules. And it's essential travel, and that's what it is. So, what does reopening the state do if you have people who can't follow the rules? And the simplest form.
It's weird. It's weird because on the one hand, you get what business owners, small business owners,
sure.
you get where I'm going with that. See, this is why, everybody's, where's my check? Where's my check? Where's my check?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the president, but where's my check? Where's my check? Where's my check? People need to understand something, which is, when I heard that the stimulus thing got approved, I said, that's good. But what did I say to you? I said, but what does this mean for the businesses? Small businesses, mom and pop businesses. What does it mean exactly? Is there some type of language in this legislation that was passed that says, hey, don't worry about your lease, don't worry about whether or not you're going to lose your business, because of what you're experiencing with COVID-19. You're good. We're just gonna, chalk this up, and there's a way you can do it. You guys know the wording I'm trying to say, but there's a way that you could basically do it so that businesses don't have to worry about, oh man, I may never reopen again because of what's going on, because I'm losing money by blah, or all that other stupid shit. And I believe in this instance, the government failed the people. Because how many times have you watched the news and you've heard a story where a business owner says, well, as a result of being affected by COVID-19,
a lot.
Even if this passes within the next month, so much damage has already been done financially, I cannot open up. So my dreams, my aspirations of opening up this business, it's done. And I'm probably never going to do something like this again, because what happens if this happens again?
Right.
I'm just not going to recover. So you've heard that be a theme, so I understand the business owners that are saying, hey, we need to open up and, let us operate under the guidelines that you all are recommending as far as wearing masks and doing this. We'll do what we need to do. Let us govern ourselves. We'll be fine. But see, here's the problem with that, to what Tam said earlier. Here's the problem with that. When you're left to your own devices, you relax. When you're left to your own devices, you get sloppy. Perfect scenario. Working the second gig a couple of days ago, and this guy gives me, because as you all know, I'm doing grocery. I'm working in the grocery store, so I get this guy that, he looks unkept like a motherfucker. I'm seeing significant dirt under his nails. I'm looking at his facial. He looks very unkept. Dandruff, dirty jacket. He's got his own little grocery bags, his own little reusable bags. But you just look at this guy and you just go, disinfect, disinfect. And if I have a pet peeve about anything, especially during this time period right now, I hate when motherfuckers, please don't do this. It really goes a long way. Do not put, I don't care how clean you think it is. You don't know what germs is on it. Do not put your recyclable bags on the belt. Don't do that. Please, don't do that. That's what you have a cart for. Okay? That's what the cart is for. The cart is for you to put shit. It's not for you to put your shit on the belt and then the belt's moving and then you go, hey, wait a minute now. And it's like, well, what the fuck did you think the belt was going to do? What the fuck do you think is the point of the belt? The belt is to move shit. What did you think was going to happen? Do not put, just don't. Just don't. Okay? Now, credit, most cashiers, they should be wiping it down. But still, just to reduce, don't put shit like that on the belt. So I get this guy, and I can tell that he's kind of mentally, I won't say challenged, but he's not quite there. And yeah, he's taking the stuff out. I'm ringing him up. Transaction's over. And he's taking his dear sweet time putting the stuff in his reusable bag. So I'm thinking, okay, I got about 2 people ahead. He taking his dear sweet time. I need that space like it was yesterday. Let me help this mofo out. So I'm helping him. All right, yeah, if we could go ahead and put this in that bag and then put that in that bag. And I'm thinking to myself, nah, nigga, you ain't about to go Peyton Manning on me going quarterback. Like, ain't got time for that. I go, hey, all due respect, I don't know if you've been watching the news, but they recently said that when it comes to, reusable bags and all that, bacteria that's from home, you may be carrying COVID and not really realize it. So, I don't know if you saw this sign, but if you're using your own reusable bags, we sadly cannot pack for you. You have to pack yourself.
What?
Yeah, that's what the sign says. I don't know if you've been watching the news. I don't know if, you read the paper or, you haven't been checking out the radio the past couple of days. But yeah, this has been in effect now for about 3 weeks.
Well, personally, I just think that it's rather stupid. And I think people are just making a big ruckus out of nothing. And I said to him very politely, I said, well, honestly, sir, with all due respect, I beg to differ. Try explaining that to the people that have lost loved ones as a result of this pandemic. And not to mention, we've seen a few pastors that have passed away because of this. So I would not be taking this lightly. But hey, you have yourself a good day and be safe. And I left his ass right there, because once he was doing the Peyton Manning quarterback, I'm like, nah, you pack your own shit. I did that as a courtesy. Like, nah, you want to act all quarterback and shit. Nah, you good, my man. You good. And I apologize for saying the N word. It's just I'm black and sometimes it slips. So just imagine if I was white and I said that. Oh my God, the scrutiny I would get. I'd be like that race car driver that fucking got, I think it's sad what happened with him. And it just shows you still how sensitive we are as a society. I've had friends, white, Hispanic, Asian, because they grew up in my neighborhood. And we walk up to each other. What's up, ninja? I said ninja. I said, what's up, ninja? But we're really saying the other thing. We're playing video games. Nah, ninja, I'm whoop your ass. All that. And it's sad how we get labeled. It really is. When I say we, I mean when you say that word. As you look at the NASCAR driver, he's losing endorsements left and right. And, now people are calling him a racist SOB. And it's like, okay, so now all of a sudden, because he said that one word, all of a sudden we're now Dr. Phil and we give people we're the DMV. We give people the seal of approval of here's your racist certificate. That for me is just... It's mind-boggling. Should he have been smarter yes, I will say that much. But man, it's crazy. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. The first thing I always say whenever I hear, somebody used the N-word, what was the context in which, what was the circumstance? What was the surroundings?
the 5 W's as I call it. Who, what, when, where, why. Give me all of that. What was the circumstance? Okay, so this race car driver was participating in, what was he doing? Narrating a virtual game or something like that? A virtual simulation of a race? No, I'm kind of remembering it. And basically he was, okay, so he probably had that video game mentality. And, how soon we forget that, yeah, we do a lot of trash talking when we play video games. A lot of trash talking. I think society is still far back as the 80s or whatever, because there was no social. The only social interactions you had when you were playing video games back then is if a friend or two was around you at that arcade machine or around that gaming console.
Or you were playing with another person that was in your home.
We're essentially saying the same thing. There you go. See,
no, you said at an arcade and a friend or two around you, not playing the same game.
Whatever, ninja. Whatever. Whatever. But no, seriously, it's funny because it's like, where are you people? Where are you people when Gears of War is being played? Where are you people when Unreal and all this? I mean, the stuff that's being said, you're like, I don't get it. I don't get it sometimes. I really don't. And sometimes I just wish people would take a step back and just, well, wait a minute, before I hit that racist button, what was the circumstances here? And there are those of us that get it. Mm-hmm. Look, show me a history. I don't know that much. I didn't do that much research on this NASCAR driver. I just kind of glanced over the report when I was watching the news, and I was like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. But show me a history of, no, this is what he thinks about people of color. It goes far back as to him in high school. It's like, show me a history, and then I can kind of go, okay. Like, I don't know if you saw yet, but there's 2 high school students that are white, sadly. They are a bad representation of all white people in society, as far as I'm concerned. They're in a bathroom, and they're pouring water, or I don't know what kind of liquid it is. I'm assuming water. But they're pouring this liquid from a cup onto a piece of paper, and the piece of paper, it says ninjas with the hard ERS, and they basically are talking about the stereotypes. Love fried chicken, love watermelon, deadbeat dads, low income housing, and they are under severe scrutiny right now.
I would say so.
I don't know if they did this via TikTok or what, but you see them and they're just smiling, laughing, carrying on. And I had tweeted about it. I said, we really shouldn't be that upset at these kids. It's their parents that failed them. Mm-hmm. And it also didn't help that, the friends...
Teaching them the stereotype.
Well, not just that, but they are also a product of not just their parents, but the friends that are surrounding them.
Yes.
That are giving them these bad teachings. So it's... There's poor miscommunication amongst that has those kids acting the way that they're acting, because for every single negative thing, I can be real, for every single negative thing a person of color has done, be it in the news or, paper, whatever, I can bring you one positive black person that is doing things for their community, that is doing things as a whole for society and doing their best to make the world a better place. And I bet you for every tic-tac, I bet you at the end, my positive people of color are going to outweigh the negative stereotypical spins that's being put out there on people of color, of minorities. So... And I'm not trying to hear about that whole, sensitivity training bull. I'm not trying to hear that. Right from wrong. why did they think they were going to be able to film this and nothing was going to happen to them? It
started somewhere.
I don't know. But how did we get into that topic? I wonder. Somehow there's a connection in there. What were we talking about before?
The fact that you said that word.
But before that, how do we get into? We were talking about states reopening.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about states reopening. We were talking about beaches, and I was talking about the knucklehead with the. I was talking about the knucklehead that thought it was a joke. Now I got the connection back. So yeah, so when you have people that act that naive and ignorant, well, I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, these are people, I'm sure you know by now, we've got people that legitimately think that COVID-19 is a conspiracy. So to that I say, well, then I guess we all aren't really furloughed or fired or whatever. We've just been on an extended long vacation, and money just magically appears in our bank account once a week because I don't know, the bank screwed up. And right, people that died, they're on a vacation somewhere. They're with Elvis. That's right, because Elvis isn't dead after all. They are basically on that island with Elvis, with Biggie and Tupac. Right? That's what's going on, right? And they're all gonna come out in the end and say, "Gotcha!" like I get it. Okay. And Michael Jackson's still okay. I get it. But no. So when they've tried to, hey people, this is what we need you to do. This is what we need you to do. Hey, do your part. Oh, it'll help us out a ton. And when you got people that aren't doing that. That's why the government is now saying, well, look, we got to police y'all because y'all don't know what the fuck y'all doing. We tell y'all not to go to the park.
And you go to the park.
You go to the park. We tell y'all not to go to the beach. Y'all go to the beach. We tell y'all not to be, lining up in droves at the grocery store. Now y'all doing that. So this is why we got to police y'all. Because y'all don't know how to police yourselves. I see both sides. I do. I sincerely see both sides. There is no winner here.
No.
I see both sides.
No.
And it is what it is. I think if we want to have our states, our respected states, open up a lot sooner, we got to be diligent to what you said earlier. We got to be diligent. We got to practice safe distancing. Wear the mask, depending on where you are now. The mask is the law.
Yes.
The mask is... I can't tell you how many times I saw people that put their mask on when they were coming into the store, and then the motherfuckers were taking their mask off while they were inside going around aisle to aisle. And then if they thought maybe they had came across an employee, they pulled their mask up like, oh, I'm following the rules.
Wow.
And okay, so this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about earlier about policing and governing. Okay, the last thing we need to do is hire extra motherfuckers for stores nationwide to be patrolling up and down the aisles, policing, making sure that people are wearing their masks the entire time.
Staying 6 feet apart.
Yeah, come on.
All that.
We're grown-ass men. Come on. We don't need that much, baby. Come on now. But that's the point that we're getting to when you keep seeing knuckleheads like that.
Or you have the one that we essentially saw last night who said, well, I have my rights. Yeah. I have this. I have the right for that. I have the right to this. I have the right to that. And you know what? If I die, I die. At least I'll be free. Really?
Right.
So just say you come in contact with the coronavirus and you infect 5 other people because you're free. And those 5 people die because you're free. And those people have family members, loved ones, sisters, brothers, coworkers, whatever you want to call it. A whole network of people that you've never come in contact with. Okay, even make it even worse. Those 5 people go home and infect their wives or their husbands. It's a domino effect. And it's really a stupid way of thinking.
It is. You know, what was the analogy I said a couple of weeks ago? I said something along the lines of when I look at COVID-19, it's like HIV. And when you
Yeah.
and when you know you have it, you know, if you are a responsible person and a person with conscience, you're going, well, the last thing I want to do is infect somebody.
Right.
So let me make sure I'm keeping this shit to myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And taking the precautions to
Right.
protect me
right.
and the people that I come in contact
Right.
with.
But if you're going to just throw caution into the wind, yeah, that's how I think everybody needs to kind of treat this COVID-19. Treat it like HIV. Treat it like AIDS. It's like, you know, you don't want to get that because that's essentially a death sentence.
Right.
Right. So you kind of, hey, man, hey, don't, hey, you know, cover up, you know, hey, protect yourself, you know, hey, I don't want that, you know, I don't want you to kill me. Like, come on. You kind of have to act like that a little bit there. But I think for the most part, everybody's doing the best that they can.
I
But
agree.
when you start mixing in these pure political conspiracy theorists, kind of deranged,
And my rights,
yeah, that's when things kind of get a little bit caca as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
because it's I could see. Okay, let's say all the states open up right now. Okay, it's back to business as usual. Let's go.
People are going to go back to doing what they normally do. They're going to go back to the ways that they had before all of this, the coronavirus started, because they're going to continue to not social. Some of them actually might continue to obey the rules and social distance, wear a mask, all this other stuff.
Right.
But if everybody says, you know what, we're good, no worries, there definitely will be a resurgence.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No doubt.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt.
And then we're damn near back in the same place we were.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, and this whole, and see, here's the thing. Here's the other thing. You know, we don't try to get too political on this show. We mainly try to save it for the Patreon version of the shows. But let me say this. I will go this, just a touch political here, just a little bit. Bear with me. Y'all know why the president is eager to open up the states, right? I'm sure Tammy knows the answer, so she can answer it.
Stock market?
Okay, that's part of it, yes.
Stock market and the economy.
And the economy. And how does that affect the president?
Well, if the country's in a...
Don't overanalyze. Don't overanalyze.
It
How
affects
does
his
this
numbers.
benefit the president?
It benefits the president because the people would be happy with his approval rating.
Which sets up
His reelection.
There you go. That's what I need you guys to think right now. So if there are some of you that are picking up, man, why is the president why is he kind of hasting this? Meanwhile, you got Dr. Fauci. I keep wanting to call him Bertucci. But you got Dr. Fauci that's really been very consistent. You know, hey, you know, I could just picture Joe Pesci playing him. You know, hey, what I just tell you? What I just tell you? I just told you. I just told you, Donnie. Need more time. I just told you. You're telling these people this thing, and I just told you we need more time. At least 6 months. I told you. Did I not tell you that? You're that hard-headed? You're that stupid? Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. I'm the one with the degrees. You're not. I could just picture it.
Oh my goodness. That would make Monday.
I would die if that would be awesome. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. So if you're like, what would it? It's all the domino effect. Remember, let's use the president's own words against him. Don't take our word for it. Look, remember, you're talking to somebody that's strict down the middle, independent, Republican, Democrat. I'm right down the middle. Let's use his own words against him. Remember what the president had said. I know he did many weekly, daily press conferences, but remember the one press conference he gave where he said,
It's unfortunate this happened because before everything happened here with The Walking Dead, our economy was booming. Unemployment was such at a low number, and everything was better. It was better than the previous administration. Ain't I great? Ain't I great? And it's very unfortunate what's happening with China. China's doing a phenomenal job. Love China. Love China. Everything about China. China chicken. China turning me chicken means turning Japanese. I really think so. I love China. China's good. China shop, China house, China coffee, China bowl, China carry out. Love everything. China.
so remember what he was saying, hey, everything was good before all this. We would like to get the economy back to, we'd like to get the stock market back to. Yeah, sure you do, because November's around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I feel like October, I hope I'm wrong, guys. But for me, it feels like everything will slowly be coming back to normal until September. That's the vibe I'm honestly getting.
Without a resurgence.
Without a resurgence, and we're doing our diligent parts.
Yeah.
It feels like maybe September.
I mean, some people will certainly be back to work before others.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a process. Yeah, things close down pretty quickly, but reopening it back up is you can't just throw caution to the wind.
Nah, you can't.
You want to consider your safety first, and I know many households are struggling, and many households, have issues that they need to take care of, and money is tight, and hey, just do the best you can with what you have, and try to work with the things that are available to you. Whether it be calling this bill to see what you can do with that, calling the mortgage people, calling this bill, calling utilities, and seeing what they can do, because the best thing that you have on your side is the simple fact that people and companies are willing to work with you.
Yeah. And in case you guys missed it, the president is putting together a group to advise him on when to reopen the economy.
That's what I heard.
And the group includes
Vince McMahon
and Dana White.
Mm-hmm.
And the president announced that he's putting together a group that includes also the NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, PGA, LPGA, Major Soccer, and more. So, not exactly clear in what capacity the group will serve in, but
I get the team that he's trying to put together, and I get the fact that he wants to put sports people with that. I do.
Yeah.
But I hope that's not everybody.
Well, as far as major sports goes,
No. I mean, as far as just not including sports, yes. But who else is in that?
well, all he's focused on right now is sports, and right,
so it's that particular meeting that's just focusing on sports.
That's just focusing on sports.
Got it.
I mean, the money that they all bring in.
Oh, yeah.
And the trickle down effect. We talked about it the trickle down effect. Yeah,
Okay.
Definitely. We can get into a couple of more little wrestling little tidbits. You want to talk Dark Side or do you want to talk XFL? Pick one.
Dark Side.
All right. So we saw the newest episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and they were talking about the death of Nancy Argentino, Jimmy Snuka. Interesting episode, and I gotta tell you, I've been podcasting since 2011, so I actually remember covering the whole Jimmy Snuka thing, especially when I can't remember the paper, but when they did the anniversary editorial piece, I remember being on air, and I remember going over it. Snuka and that whole case, that's something that we've brought up from time to time on the show. So I definitely went into this episode of Dark Side of the Ring going, honestly like Chris Hardball, tell me something I don't know. And there was probably only two things that I really took away from it that made me go, okay, didn't know that. But otherwise, for the hour piece that it was just, it's okay. For people that were not following the case, like I know Tammy was not following the case, and I'll let her elaborate more. But if you didn't follow the case, then you kind of okay. How did you feel when you watched it?
Well, for sure, for someone who was the casual wrestling fan and going through that as a story, it was very eye-opening for me, as it pertains to how it was handled, as it pertains to possible cover-up, as it pertains to whether or not he did it. It was very informative through and through. Like, after it was over, I had no questions. And it left you to form your own opinion.
I'm going to take a different approach. And I'm going to say, and look, I like the guys behind Dark Side of the Ring, Evan and Jason. I like them. I was definitely critical on Kevin Sullivan and his involvement with the season premiere episode. And I told you guys how that kind of ruffled me the wrong way, how they kind of handled some aspects of that episode. Here's my issues with the way that they did this. I know that you've got to, for time restraints, you've got to condense, and you've pretty much got to do about 45 to 50 minutes. I get that. Mm-hmm. I get that. I do. But you get this former, I can't remember if he's still current or now, so I'm just going to say former police chief who, it's obvious he's crooked as fuck.
Yeah.
It's obvious. Mm-hmm. It's obvious this guy is on some type of payroll. What payroll is,
or he took a payout.
Whose dick was he sucking and they got him, explain, because he is shady as fuck. But you get the producers at one point, and that's one of the things that jumped out to me was how shady as fuck this detective was. Mm-hmm. But the second thing was Tonga Kid, and never heard this before, only on this episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Didn't hear about it years prior. But apparently Tonga Kid was in the car with Jimmy Snuka and Nancy Argentino when they were driving to the hotel. And as we all know, pretty much like a day later, she freaking dies at that hotel and everything. And this takes the producers off guard. And they're like, wait, you were there? Like, yeah, I was there. I was riding in the back seat with them. We were laughing, carrying it on, good time, playing music. Like, oh, okay, because in Jimmy Snuka's book, he said that, it was just him and Nancy that were driving and that they got into an argument. Nancy had, went out the car and, whatever she was doing, convenience store, whatever the fuck it was, and she's coming back, she slips on something, falls, hits her head. You recall any of that happening? And Tonga Kid's going, no, nothing like that ever happened. And it was in that moment that you look at Tonga Kid's face and you see him just idolize Jimmy Snuka, his family, he helped me get my break. This was somebody that was his idol. So in those seconds there, after he says that, you see the deconstruction of the Tonga Kid when he realizes, holy shit, I think my idol really did kill this woman. And you just couldn't help but feel for the dude, because you're like, yeah, dude, yeah. because Jimmy Snuka, his story has changed so many times over the years about what all happened. But one can say, oh yeah, she fell. She fell in concrete, and like, okay, well, that didn't happen. And then when they go to this detective, and he's joking, well, you found out somebody was actually in the car riding with them prior, and they're like, yeah, as a matter of fact, we did. And he just has this ghost beat red look on his face, and all of a sudden he just starts hitting Jimmy Stewart. Like, I was ready for him to go, I don't know. I was ready for him to hit one of them numbers, and you're going, okay, something don't sound right. It don't add up. And then the other thing that I didn't like was I didn't like the fact that, I mean, when you're watching this and you know everything that happened, you don't because see, this episode, it left so many things out. It left so many things out. Like, how the fuck do you, I gotta put it out there, how do you not bring up the fact that Jimmy Snuka was abusive to his first wife? How do you not bring that up? The woman that he was married to when he was sleeping around with Nancy. How do you not bring up the fact that he was beating his wife? And it got so bad, one particular night, she went running to the house of Buddy Rogers. Remember, we were told, Buddy Rogers, he didn't want to, because he was too much of a, well, the wife actually ran to the house of Buddy Rogers for help.
Wow.
Tony Atlas, in his autobiography, which I've kind of, I've read a little bit off and on over the years, but Tony Atlas, he said in his autobiography that there was a girl that he used to, party with. He was dating and everything, and she was kind of, I wouldn't say she was a ring rat, but her and Nancy, apparently they did talk. They would hang out and everything, and apparently that girl that Tony Atlas was dating was actually at the hotel the night before, partying with Nancy, Jimmy, and maybe one or two other people. And it's never been cross-referenced. It's never been, okay, let's verify check that. So you've got that's floating around, and so for the producers to not really go in those areas, I felt it was a disservice to people that, like yourself and others, that
who don't know.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Irv Munchnick, he's got material, books upon books of stuff that, he's done covering this, because he's the one that was really on top of this before the newspaper had kicked in and everything. And so I got beef with the producers once again for how they had presented this, and how you leave those aspects out. How do you also leave out the aspect that I had told you off air, where and you guys will probably remember this. I remember being on the show bringing this up, but they had the case that went down, and they were trying to figure out if Jimmy Snuka could stand trial and everything. Poor Jimmy Snuka, he can't, his mind is so not there, and the judge is like, okay, well, I'm going to need a couple of days to marinate on this. We'll reconvene, boom, enjoy your weekend, folks. And next thing you know, like a couple of days later, Jimmy Snuka goes to some fucking wrestling convention, and he's seen on fucking video, and the fans like, I'm paraphrasing here, but the fans are basically going, Mr. Jimmy, do you remember that time you had leaped from the steel cage and you did that infamous body splash? Hey, brother, I do. Madison Square Garden.
August 1st, 1975, brother. I remember as clear as day. Right next to the MGM, you had the Barducci's restaurant that was owned by my good friend Peter Paul and his lovely wife. I remember after it was over, I had the cake, vanilla chocolate souffle, and I mean, he's just going over vibrant fucking detail, and you're going, dude, thought your mind was not intact. Man, somebody got that shit to the judge, and the judge was like, nah, sweetie, you'll be able to go to trial. And the shit.
Right.
Okay, so they didn't bring that up. And I didn't exactly like how they tried to have the viewer go off to their own little
Conclusion?
yeah. No, there's no shadow of doubt.
Oh, he did it.
He had a role.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, cue up the Dave Matthews song. I did it. If you're guilty as charged.
It's no different than OJ.
Yeah.
The evidence is there.
Yeah.
It's just that you know that there's a cover up.
Yeah.
Flat out.
Yeah. Yeah. Why people are following OJ on Twitter, that just blows my mind. And some people are like, oh no, it's not him. You must have not seen this is what celebrities do. This is what celebrities do. When celebrities are trying to show that they in fact are the person in control of a social media account, they'll either take a picture or they'll record a video of themselves holding up the @ sign for their what they deem as their official.
Yeah, official.
And OJ did that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he posts videos. I remember like as soon as I heard OJ had Twitter, I'm like, wait, what? And I look and I go, son of a bitch, he does. I'm like, well, that's one fool I ain't following. But he's so brazen about it. What was that book? If I Did It?
Oh, yes.
But didn't the Goldstein family changed it and they said I did it?
Something.
I think they did say if I did, and I think they just took the if off and just said I did it. Like, but yeah. So I mean, if it was a case that you guys didn't really follow like that, you really owe it to yourselves to check out all the stuff that Munchnick had put out about it, and read the editorial piece that came out from that one newspaper establishment, and really brushing up. But the Tonga Kid thing, that was new for me. That corrupt detective, that was pretty, what the fuck.
Yeah, that was that was a specific case of I know more than I'm telling you, but boy, you struck a nerve.
Yes. Yo, you said it beautifully. Yes. That's exactly. Yeah, because when I put the tweet out, there were some people, what happened? Like, words just not justified. You just gotta go out of your way and watch it again, or if you haven't watched it, watch it, because words just no. You gotta actually see how this guy goes from 0 to 180.
I will tell you that I did like the documentation that they were able to, as far as physical documentation that they were able to get a hold of, and so on and so forth. Specifically the one where it says, all these reports that we have are complete, except for one. And that report was essentially the one where Vince McMahon and 3 to 4 other people are having a meeting for, 4 hours?
Right.
4 hours, and you have no notes? None? That doesn't make any sense, and that comes out as shady.
Yeah.
Flat out.
Yeah. I'm still holding out hope for a Vince biopic, an unauthorized joint, like long after he passes. I know WWE will probably try to sue, but I would love to see Ray Liotta play Vince McMahon.
Oh, that would actually be a good cast.
Yeah, I would love to see him play Vince McMahon. That would be pretty badass. By the way, I heard that what's the show After Dark? That's after Dark Side of the Ring. I think it's called After Dark.
Yeah, I think so.
I heard that show is
It's kind of weak. So basically, the way that they do that show, it's kind of like, you know how much of a big Walking Dead fan I am, and then I usually watch Talking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like Talking Dead, but it's basically Talking Dark.
Oh.
And apparently Irv Munchnick was on the show, so you're going, okay, great, you got Irv. But they only had Irv on for like maybe 2 minutes tops, and then they dedicated the rest of the time to guys that weren't even connected to the case in no type of way.
That makes no sense.
And you're like, wait a minute, why do we have these people on again? This makes your entire show could have been with Munchnick. Who the fuck is the producer for this shit?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what the hell is going on? And I don't know if there were technical issues, because a lot of these shows that are now trying to stream their shows using the Zoom and Skype, I don't know if it was technical issues.
You know, computer that's on point, everything that they need to essentially do a virtual
well, but see,
program like that.
Right, but see, here's also the other problem that you got to throw into the mix, is that with the exception of shows like First Things First, Undisputed, which are live, but probably has a little bit of a tape delay, which you also have to factor in is you got shows like Talking Dead that did what they needed to do. You're probably watching an interview. You're probably watching an episode of Talking Dead that was actually recorded a day or two prior.
Mm-hmm.
But, they're maybe trying to pass it off as live or whatever. But with Munchnick, it might have been an issue where they were having some type of technical issues, because from what I was able to understand, they had him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he should have been on for the entire episode, but for whatever respected reason, they only had him on for like less than 2 minutes, and then the rest went into
people who had nothing to do with
people who had nothing to do with the fucking case.
So then it goes into what I've heard, conspiracy,
personal opinion, right? And it's like, you have nothing. It would almost be like, what year was O.J. Simpson? What was that? 91, 92?
No, 96.
Hey Google, what year was the O.J. Simpson Bronco?
It was at least 90.
So maybe that went down in 93.
Jury swearing in was in 94.
So I'm saying maybe OJ.
Oh, it happened.
Maybe it was 93.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm using that as an example. Okay, so let's say we have a new special anniversary on OJ Simpson, and then after the OJ Simpson special is over, you're like, hey, okay, it's talking OJ, talking after OJ. All right, so who's going to be your panel? Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh God.
Neil Young. And Bozo the Clown. And Spinguli. What the flying fuck why do I give a fuck about what they have to say about the OJ trial? No, give me fucking Johnny Cochran, or give me somebody that was the right-hand man of Johnny Cochran that was helping him during that trial. Give me Kato Kalin.
Yep.
Give me Mr. Goldstein, the father. Give me him. Give me Marsha Clark. That's your fucking panel. Okay. Maybe Dan Abrams or Nancy Grace, if they happen to have been a court reporter during that time.
Right.
Give me them, since they were chronicling it every fucking day. Give me a newspaper guy that was covering it every day, taking,
for that 11 months.
That's your fucking panel.
Yeah.
So whoever is doing the producing for After Dark, it was weird, because I know there are about 2-3 episodes in now, but I'm looking at their panel and I'm going, what the fuck does this have to do with what I just watched? Really not a goddamn thing. They got to do a better job in producing hosts that you have to stick around, because like I'm sure you guys will probably be scratching your heads going, yeah, we're. How do you not have on After Dark Nancy's sister? So
Good
outspoken
point.
on that episode,
Good
and yet
point.
you don't have her.
Good point. That's a really good point.
I mean, who the fuck's booking this shit?
Right.
I mean, we know a thing or two about PR because, we practice it, daily in our businesses. So it's kind of like, do we have to do your job for you? Like what the fuck?
If you're going to do an extension of the episode that someone just watched, you're not going to get asses in seats with a third-party commentary.
No.
You're just not. I mean, somebody might be somewhat curious.
Yeah.
But you're not going to have the ratings that you need to have if you're not going with first-person accounts.
Yeah. They got to use the formula that The Walking Dead uses. It's a perfect formula. They have either the writer or the producer of that episode that you had just watched of The Walking Dead. Mm-hmm. They've got an actor or two of that very same episode. Mm-hmm. And then for color, you'll have somebody that, maybe Yvette Nicole, the super Walking Dead fan, or a comedian, or there's your nice balance right there.
Yeah, here's what I think. Yes. This is my opinion.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, you can have one to balance it out, but not your whole panel.
Not your whole panel. No, not your whole fucking panel. Hey, let's get into some Patreon shout outs, by the way. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio video content. We got to record Better Call Saul for our Patreon members. We ain't forget you guys. Just been a little bit hectic right now. But I'm excited for that too. Season finale of Better Call Saul coming up this Monday. They're going to be going out on a high note. It's nice to see guys like Hurricane Shane Helms and Matt Hardy, big fans of Better Call Saul. It's nice to see that. Nice to see that. I hope that with their celebrity, they can have even more people try to come on board. And I know he hasn't missed an episode of Better Call Saul. He enjoys it because he's talked about it more than once. And once in a blue moon, I've gone back and forth with him about it and everything. Cool. But shout out to Patreon member Sean Kenter. Was literally talking just briefly to Sean the other day in Discord. Because a few people, hey, I ain't seen you in like 3 weeks. Where you been? Like, work. Like, I'll catch up with some of you guys. Sean Kenter is definitely one of them. Shout out to John Krauser. John Krauser is, last I checked, working with Shaheen to finalize his artwork for his podcast. So can't wait to see how that comes about. And I actually would not mind helping him out and be a guest on the show. Anything to help out. Definitely need to have him on the show so he can promote it and everything. Also shout out to Freddie R. Haven't heard from Freddie in a good minute. Freddie, let me find out what's been going on with him. Long-time RCWR show supporter. Who else are we missing in there? Justin Ripstock. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to John Davis. Also shout out to the good folks behind ChairShotTees.com. I was just speaking about Shaheen and Rob Feinstein of R.i.p. Video have joined forces for ChairShotTees.com. Check them out. Officially licensed wrestling merchandise. Some good stuff you won't be able to find anywhere else. One of a kind. Check them out. And check out Tony Bean Gaming for all the very latest in Marvel Super War, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel, what's the other one? Marvel Super War, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, not Marvel Ultimate Alliance. What's the third one I'm always plugging? There's a third one. All this time been plugging. So he's got Marvel Super War. He's got Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 and Marvel Super War. There it is. Try saying that 3 times fast. Check him out. Tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews. Check him out. Tony Bean Gaming. Appreciate all these guys. Much love and support as always. But patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio and video content. I don't have any sponsors I want to be promoting right now, but for those of you that are going to be listening to the audio version of this on demand on the downloads, you will have already heard the sponsors that we're working with for this week's episode of Wrestling with the Topics. As I'm going to put a buffer, we'll have them play at the beginning of this episode. Let's go out on this note. let's talk XFL. Nothing too long-winded, but it was about this same time last week that the XFL had officially declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And now more information has come about regarding this. According to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, Vince McMahon reportedly talked with the WWE Board of Directors about closing the XFL before an official announcement was even made. Furthermore, this included XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck, who was not made aware of Vince's thinking. Yes. It's being said that the ratings were okay, despite drop-offs here and there. We all saw how great of a good, strong standing they had the first week, and you saw a little bit of a decline. You saw a little bit of a decline the second week. When you do that, you rock it back and forth, and then you got them thinking, is it their fucking camera
Sorry,
or what?
guys. I decided to step outside, not really look and see what I was stepping onto. Didn't realize there was a lovely package on the front porch, and decided that my ankle just went and so it's a little sore today. And I was actually just kind of putting some pressure on it. My apologies.
And where were we? Oliver Luck.
Yeah,
So the ratings were
know.
okay. So the ratings were okay for a little bit.
But they were dropping.
Right. So it's being said that Vince McMahon was more concerned about the loss of money and profit due to COVID-19. For him, wasn't a huge issue at first, but longer this went, obviously.
Right.
Okay. So McMahon sold, get this, 379 million plus worth of WWE stock to fund the XFL last year.
Wow.
Bankruptcy has further damaged. This is what's being described now. The bankruptcy has been described as further damaging his reputation, and belief is the losses were greater than anticipated. Vince McMahon loaned Alpha Entertainment $7 million to cover the next payroll, then another $2 million on April 9th. He had agreed to loan another $3.5 million to cover bankruptcy costs. So this means McMahon himself is now a creditor, assuming that someone else buys the league and or intellectual property. Oliver Luck, circling back to him, not listed as a creditor, even though his contract was for $20 million a year. It's being speculated he was either paid in full or had an opt-out clause in the agreement in case something like this were to go down. The $20 million could also just be a upper limit number or made up entirely. The bankruptcy filing meantime revealed that the XFL had around 1,200 creditors and both assets and liabilities worth between $10 million and $50 million. So compare that to the original XFL, they had $139 million in losses split between the 5% owners, which was NBC and the WWE. Vince McMahon was listed as the sole owner in this case. He had previously said WWE was not involved, but they were listed as holding 23.5% of Class B stock in the filing. It's also been reported that since Alpha Entertainment and WWE were right next to each other, there were plenty of people going back and forth between the two buildings, and certain people were working 2 full-time jobs as a result.
Wow.
So, I'll throw the ball to you. Your thoughts about what you just heard there on the XFL, and you could expand upon that further if you want. And I don't really think we've had you go on record and talk about how you enjoyed the XFL, or maybe did not enjoy, just based on what you had saw compared to the original run. I know you were anticipating it as much as I was.
We did talk about it some.
But
yes.
yeah, go ahead. Floor is yours.
I don't know. That's really interesting. It sounds even somewhat sneaky. First of all, this go around, as far as the XFL, was way better. Way better. And they learned from their first outing than it was. So I had some concerns and things I didn't like. But for the most part, on a scale of 1 to 10, for sure it was probably, I don't know, I probably liked it probably about a 7. I didn't get a chance to watch it as much because at that point, every other weekend was weekends that I had work. I had to work. So it seems like there's definitely some underhanded things going on, because how do you not tell the essentially metaphor right hand what the left hand's doing before you even do it? Why would you do that? I mean, if you're trying to be on the up and up and, trying to do this, trying to do that, why would you not do that? Instead of, oh, well, I'm, okay, well, I got you here, but yet I'm not listed on the certain documents here, but on these documents here, my name is 23%. So unless it was the first time around, it left such a bad taste in the mouths of many people. I don't know. But in what I've seen or know of as far as Vince McMahon, in just the brief pass by or what Lee has said, he seems like you're going to know what I want you to know when I want you to know it. Flat out. Unless I have to. If I don't want to tell you, I don't have to. Is that good business practices? Probably not. Makes them seem not unworthy, but makes them seem very, very backhanded, very sneaky. For me.
I told listeners, I think earlier this week, I said, when I first heard about who all was being credited for the XFL, and you got WWE with 23.5% in stock, like, man, you told people for a couple of years now that WWE had nothing to do with this, that... Mm-hmm. And see, maybe the correct question that should have been asked was, okay, understand that you're saying that as far as WWE talent and all of that goes, we're not going to be seeing that type of crossover in the XFL. Mm-hmm. But, and I want to say, I can't remember who the reporter was, but I want to say somebody did ask him flat out, is WWE themselves in any capacity going to be funding the XFL? And McMahon said no. I'm almost 70% certain a reporter asked him that, because I remember there was a couple of XFL little conference calls that I was able to just quietly sit in on because I had the hookup. And I was just, listening through them, and I'm just listening. And I'm like, okay. I remember there was some that were open to the public. I do remember that. There were some that were open to the public. And I want to say on the ones that were open to the public, now that I'm thinking about it, because sometimes my memory gets a little fuzzy. I think, if not all the XFL conferences, which were not that many, it probably maybe feels like it was 3 to 4. I want to say they were out in the open in the public. So I'm thinking, I got my shit mixed up. I'm thinking of another promotion. I got the hook up quietly. So with Vince, a reporter did ask, okay, so is WWE funding this? And he was, no. Flat out, he said, no. You got a class action lawsuit that's coming against the WWE right now because you've got people that feel as though WWE and what they were projecting for stocks and all that, the shares, it wasn't matching up. And so these guys lost buku's money. And I said, hey, if you are those people that's teaming up for that class action lawsuit, and you hear this shit that's going on with the XFL, you want to be paying very close attention to the numbers and everything that's been coming out under this Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing, because y'all may be able to use this to further strengthen your case. I'm normally confident in a WWE lawsuit as far as they're either going to be able to win, they're going to be able to settle. I think in the case of this class action lawsuit of all these people that feel as though they were wrong, add this chapter bankruptcy filing on top of, see, look at the shenanigans here, see, and to what McMahon was saying in press conferences and all of that, doesn't look good for WWE as a whole.
True.
And for Vince McMahon to, drop out this second go round of the XFL, quite sad. Quite sad. Look, I'll say it again. I didn't say it earlier this week. I said it a couple of months ago. Matter of fact, on this show. His possible saving grace right now, because I just can't picture anybody jumping up and down for the XFL right now.
No.
I given everything that's going on, I just can't see it right now. His one hope, if President Trump loses re-election, and since him and Trump are boys, I can see the idea of Trump investing in the XFL, partnering up with McMahon. I can see something like that happening, because I mentioned that because anybody that has followed the career of Trump, y'all know how badly he wanted to be an actual NFL owner. And when the opportunities did not present itself, we saw what happened there with what was the league that Doug Flutie was playing in?
CFL?
The CFL. Donald Trump actually owned one of the teams in that league. And so if not the team that Doug Flutie was on, if not that team, definitely a team in the CFL, before it had collapsed and everything. But that's something that, he's been wanting for a long time. So this may be the next best bet, especially since it was getting so much praise and everything. So, I could see investors like Trump, stepping in there, and it's a long shot. Maybe Bill Maher. I mentioned Bill Maher because Bill Maher does own a baseball team, an actual
Does he really?
He owns an actual MLB team. As a matter of fact, hey Google, what baseball team does Bill Maher own?
On the website CBSNews.com, they say Bill Maher buys minority stake in New York Mets.
New York Mets.
By his minority stake.
Basically, he owns. Hey Google, stop. So basically,
Okay, so he has part ownership in the Mets. Okay.
that's all. So you can essentially call him owner. No matter how you want to get technical, he's the owner. So I mean, he's sitting in money. So but is he willing to?
Probably not.
That's the question. Or is he just going to look at the color green?
Yeah.
Right. That's the real question. So that's the only at this point. That's the only few options I see of people that would. But even at that, you kind of got to get past this pandemic first.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we got to see what happens during the election period. But it's sad what happened with the XFL, because it seemed very promising. I'll admit the numbers did seem like it was kind of going low a little bit. Nothing that a couple retweaking couldn't do for a second season. I honestly believe that if they would have been able to continue, they would have been able to do just enough to barely break even. But I think what probably would have helped them out in the off season and fine-tuning things for the next season, the 2021 season, would have been if they would have been able to work out more rights deals. streaming games on social media, doing stuff on Facebook Watch. Remember we were talking about having a pre-show panel, post-show panel, and everything. Having more accessibility to networks. I remember when me and Marcus were talking about, how they could stream, and it was like, well, what about CBS? It's like, well, here's the thing. During that time, you got the golf. Then when you don't have golf, you've got March Madness. It's like, so CBS really wouldn't be a good fit. And because as it stands, you basically had ABC, Fox, ESPN, FS1 that were televising the games. So you look at that and you go, well, what more could they? Don't do that.
Why?
Don't do that. Why are you disconnecting your headphones from the jack? God.
I'm fiddling.
Yeah, but when you do that, you're coming in and out. So when you're going...
Well, I figured since you were talking, so...
Here, play with this. We're almost done. God damn. God, sometimes she's like a little kid and you gotta watch her. I'm hearing some type of clicking going on. I'm like, and she's disconnecting her fucking headphones. Can you not be any more disinterested? God damn. Can you not be any more disinterested that you gotta disconnect? I mean, that would be like me just going, you listening to you talk, that would be like me going, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, come on, man. Don't do that, dude. You killing me, Petey. The show's over on that note. God damn. God damn, that's some cold shit, man. That's some cold shit. That's some cold shit. All right. No, I didn't really have that much more to add, guys. That's pretty much it. So there's really nothing else I wanted to get into. You guys got a nice little deluxe show as it is here. So we'll go ahead. We got about 2 hours, 46 minutes of showtime, man. We'll go ahead. We'll call this D-O-N-E done. D-O-N-E done. Send all your hate to her. I'm not, No, seriously, like there's really nothing else more to talk about. So I'll say at this point, y'all are definitely going to get a Monday night show. I've been delivering on the Monday night show. It's the Wednesday night show. I can't really figure out right now. Pretty much give me about, maybe an hour or less. I'll put a poll up on YouTube asking you guys, what should happen with the Wednesday show? Would you guys be cool with me coming on at 11 o'clock? That way I have even more time to watch both shows, and we, try to make it be an end goal of going off the air, maybe after about an hour, 15 minutes or something like that, maybe try to go about 90 minutes. I'll have to rely on you guys, and y'all let me know how you want that to go down. Or do we just push it back to a new night? And if we got to push it back to a new night, I think at that point, then I'll just go based off what's going on with my schedule, because it could be a rotating thing. So that's the other thing that we got to prepare for. But look out for that poll. But you'll get the Monday night show after Raw goes off the air right here on YouTube. So join those of you that's listening to the audio version of this. If you could join us for the webcast version, that will be live. Join us for the webcast version. And then Patreon members, I have not forgotten about you all. It's just a matter of sitting down, producing the content. I mean, it's still, we got about roughly 2 weeks left in the month of April, so I got a couple more pieces of content I'm going to be sending you all's way. So just hang in there. Appreciate everybody's patience. And meantime, be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you may have missed on demand and on the downloads. I appreciate everybody that checked out the show live. Definitely those that's going to be checking out the show on demand and on the downloads. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go round, please be safe and be kind to one another. And if you can help it, please stay the fuck at home. We'll check you guys out next go round. Y'all do take care.
Bye-bye.